Hi, Maxine.
Hi,
It's
Dr.
a pleasure.
Shelly.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here with you, Maxine Barnett. And I will ask you to give a little bit of introduction to yourself but before we get into that, I wanted to share that my name is Dr. Shelly Cameron, and I love to bring these videos on for individuals because it's all about success strategies. My research was on succession, leadership, and everything that I do is basically surrounding the topic of leadership. So my guest here is Maxine Barnett, and we're going to be chatting a little bit about the art of networking. So I'll go with Maxine because Maxine is as far as I'm concerned, Maxine is someone who has really been out there. She's excellent at networking. And also, you want to go ahead and share?
Yes, I shall. You're sounding a little softer than usual, so I was trying to get the volume up a bit. But it's really an honor to be here with you, Dr. Shelly. Dr. Shelly Cameron, but I get to call her Dr. Shelly. I am Maxine Barnett. I am the founder and CEO of Soft Skills Services, a service or business that helps leaders and works with leaders to hone and amplify and maximize their soft skills to achieve their leadership and business goals. And I am an executive coach, an executive and career coach. And when I say executive coach and when I say leaders, I put them both together. It's not only leaders in the executive suite, but it's leaders at any level. So it can be departmental leaders, team leaders, youth leaders, entrepreneurs, or leaders.
You name it, you do it.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Those who are aspiring leaders and want some guidance and so on. That's really what you
Potential,
specialize in.
yes,
So today we're going to
exactly.
chat about networking and the art of networking. And I have a few questions that I wanted to ask. And my first one is, what really is networking? Can you share?
Sure, sure. And networking is a soft skill. Let's start off with
Of
let's start
course,
off with that.
yes, because
And
that's the business you're in.
absolutely, it is a
Right.
soft skill. And more we are seeing how critical it is for business owners, leaders, professionals to network and come together with
Right.
like-minded people,
Right.
so that you can share information, you can share, you can attend conferences together, people network at conferences, you can attend training programs together, you can socialize together. And by doing that, you get to know each other a little better than in a formal work situation. So
Okay.
when people think of networking, one of the things that come to mind is the cocktail party, the
Yes.
cocktail reception.
Of course.
And that is, yes, and that's one of the ways that people network. And I guess we'll talk about other ways. But in that kind of setting, you get to really sometimes press the flesh, talk one-on-one, and get to meet in a more casual environment that helps to propel and build relationships as we get to know each other better.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
We're thinking of, let's say we're thinking of two different scenarios. One scenario is we're thinking of a young supervisor
Mm-hmm.
who wants to grow and to launch out and to grow. And that's one situation. And
Yeah.
another situation could be someone who decided to give up. As a result of the pandemic, a lot of individuals have decided, hey, I'm going to jump into entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
So, as an entrepreneur, in order for you to get contracts or for you to get business, you got to network. So, you can choose whichever of the two that you'd like to speak with to share with someone who is pretty new to the territory, to
Sure.
share with them exactly how they could go about
Sure.
doing it.
And I may talk
Okay.
about both. I may talk a
Yeah,
bit
you
about
can.
both.
You
I
can.
may talk a bit about both. Let's talk about the entrepreneurial business person. One of the things I said earlier is that the business person should really be where their customers have, where their
Right.
customers hang out in some
Right.
instances,
Right.
where their
Right.
customers tend to be. And that's why for business people, there are places, not just the cocktail receptions and the after five hangouts and so on, and those work
Right.
too. But there are organizations that really cater for that, like the chambers of commerce, for example,
Right.
that comes to
Yes.
mind
Yes.
right
Yes.
away for a business person or an entrepreneur, or
Yes.
even an executive, even
Yes.
an executive. So you
Yes.
have the chambers of commerce and places like that where you can get a chance to network, you can get a chance to chat, you can get a chance to even serve on committees together where you get to know each other a little better and so on. Yes?
Exactly.
the young supervisor, or what we call the upwardly mobile professional that you
Yes.
reference, that person I always recommend a professional organization. So, for example, if I look at the young human resource professional, I would
Yes.
always recommend a Society of Human Resource Management, for example, the
Right.
Society of,
Right.
where you
Right.
get a chance to meet other like-minded persons, but you also get a chance to meet mentors,
Yes.
you know, and
Yes.
people you can learn from. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, for the, well, it doesn't matter what arm they fall into, whether it's a
Yeah,
supervisor
sure.
or it is a new entrepreneur, because sometimes, you have executives who may decide to retire early, and they retire early and decide to go into their own business. They've
Mm-hmm.
been in whatever management business for a long time, and then they decide to go into consulting. Now that's a
Sure.
completely different ball of game. You use your
Absolutely.
own network that you already have, but at the
Exactly.
same time you want to go out and, as you said, rightly said, to get into
Reach
that
out to
market.
new one. Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
you rub shoulders there and get to know others.
Sure. So someone like that, for example, may, if he had not or she had not done it before, may consider becoming part of some of the other social type organizations
Right.
like a Rotary
Right.
Club, like
Right.
Alliance, or one of those where they
Right.
get a chance to meet new persons, but
Right.
get a chance also to use some of the skills that they had acquired while in, while in corporate and while working. They get a chance to serve
Right.
and
Right.
offer those skills.
So
Yes.
do you want to share anything about, I mean, as far as your background is concerned, I do know that you do a lot of work with like consulates and so on, and raising the bar for young
Sure.
ones that decide to go in. And I say young not in terms of age, but in terms of experience
Mhm.
into a new area. You want to share a little bit about some of the work that you have done yourself?
Well, even before I get there, I neglected to say I wanted to talk about networking in a different way. So we are accustomed to the traditional in-person networking, but the
Right.
last 2 years has shown us that we can network virtually.
Yes.
Some of us had to learn, some of us had to pivot.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and learn to network virtually. And so much so that that has become almost mainstream now, that people, even if you can go back in person, some people are doing it in a hybrid fashion where you can do both at
Right.
the same time. So that networking virtually even opened up an avenue for me to offer some of this training that I offer, because people had to learn
Right.
how to network and how
Right.
to function in the virtual space. So that
Okay.
was another opportunity. So virtual meeting etiquette became a soft skill that I
Right.
now had to offer and help coach
Right.
or train persons to do that.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So to answer your question directly, yes, I coach individuals and I coach teams. And I really help people to move from point A to point B, whether they're looking to move upward, whether they're looking to move out. And the foundation really is about being self-aware. So we do quite a bit of work in that area. And then we move into the areas that the person may be deficient in, because everyone is not deficient in everything.
Right.
So that what I do is that I assess where the deficiency is, and that's where I will help. With reference to the consulates, yes, I work with some high commissions and so on, helping their staff to understand protocol and
Right.
understand cultural
Right.
awareness and
Right.
so on.
Right. Right.
But what is also interesting is that we have seen that even in the business setting, some of those same attributes and skills that were in the diplomatic environment
Yes.
are now relevant to business. So I do corporate protocol.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So that's the
corporate
reason why I
protocol.
wanted you to share a
Yeah,
little bit about that.
yes,
We
yes.
didn't get too much into your bio, so if they don't
Mhm.
know you, then they would know that. So I wanted to bring
Absolutely.
that one out. The other thing I
What's
wanted to
interesting is
ask,
that I'm meeting with a client tomorrow
right?
doing corporate protocol training. Yes, just tomorrow.
So what I wanted to ask is networking structured or unstructured?
Is networking.
Structured or unstructured?
The word I will use is intentional.
Ah, like that.
In-
What do you mean by intentional?
Intentional, because networking is not just showing up and shaking the glass and it's
Right,
not
right,
just that. I advise my clients, when you are attending a networking event, whether it is in person or virtually, have an intention to at least meet 2 or 3
right.
new persons
Okay,
you had not met
okay,
with before, you
right,
know? Yes. So you come away now with the information, you establish the information. So if it's in person, most likely you get a chance to exchange business cards. So
right,
you come away now at least 2 or 3 new persons that you had not met before. So when I'm doing, I do strategic networking training
right.
with senior people, and I literally create a situation where it's like a cocktail reception, and some are in
Exactly.
and then some have to come in,
Nice.
and we literally walk it through.
Right,
In the virtual space, what we have learned is that right in the middle of whatever it is that's happening, people have already started checking out LinkedIn. People have already started exchanging information in the chat,
nice.
so
Right,
that you walk away now with
right,
that follow-up. And it is important to do the follow-up.
right.
That is why I use the word intentional.
All right. So, as you're talking about follow-up, tell me how, for the benefit of, remember, we're all targeting the new person who is doing it for the first time or
So
going to their first, the basics of it. What do they do after they've gotten those business cards and they're now have left that
yes, after they've exchanged information, whether it's a business cards or electronically,
whatever it is, right?
virtual, within the first 2 or 3 days, and 3 is even long, within the first day or two,
Right,
we make
right,
contact.
right,
Even if it is to just establish a quick hello, and that we can always set up to meet later on,
right,
to
exactly,
establish that contact while everything is still fresh,
right.
while the memory is still fresh. Remember, people are meeting quite a few different persons at an event, so you want to
Absolutely,
be there.
absolutely.
Yes,
So
yes.
the other question I wanted to do is to take you back a little bit. How should they dress for?
Ah, well, dress is according to what one of the words that I like to use when I did quite a bit of image management is the word propriety. The dress has to be appropriate to the situation, so that if the networking event is a sports event, you're not going to dress in your business suit. you know, if the
Uh,
net right, if the
but
net
it's funny you would say that. Can you network at a sporting event?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right,
Oh,
right.
yes. Oh, yes. For those of us who come from the Caribbean, much networking goes on at the cricket match. Much networking goes on the golf course.
Right?
Much networking goes on at the lawn tennis match after the
Of
match.
course, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So the dress,
Yeah.
the dress
It's just
is to
appropriate to the
appropriate to the
situation. Yes,
situation,
yes,
right?
yes.
What about the
What about
the conservative or
the
conservative dress?
the conservative dress? And you're talking about business dress now?
All right.
Yeah, the business
Yes.
dress we're talking about. And I hear you when you talk about conservative, you don't, how should I put it? You don't overdress, but you also dress in a way that it doesn't distract. Because yes, you're networking, and networking is still business. So you don't want to dress in a way to distract. You don't want to show too much.
Right.
You don't want to dress so that you can distract, because you still want to be able to establish a business connect, to build a relationship
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
continue to talk business,
Right.
as opposed to,
Right. I have
although,
seen.
yes, although
I,
it is in a very casual setting. Yes.
I've seen
Mm-hmm.
some at business networking sessions,
Mm-hmm.
and the high heels that make your the ladies who wear the high heels and they're, oh my
And
God,
they have
they're
to
so,
stand with this glass in their hand.
yes, and they're exhausted. So be comfortable, right? Am I
Uh,
correct?
you need to be comfortable. If it is a situation where you'll be standing for a while, like, for example, some cocktail settings, they purposefully don't have chairs because
Exactly.
it's
We
designed for
have
you to
a
be
few
able to
scattered.
move around and so on. Then you
Yes.
dress with comfortable shoes. I'm glad you brought up that, Dr. Shelly. Comfortable. You pay a price after the session.
But you can decide that you may pay a price, but oh my God, sometimes you have to go somewhere and take it off, relax a little,
Absolutely.
and then come back
Absolutely.
in.
I don't know. Are you talking from experience?
No. Yes,
No,
experience
no,
having
I'm
looked
teasing.
at others
From
doing it
watching
and
others,
so
and
on.
we've seen
Yes,
them. We've
yes,
seen them. They have to step out, take off
y-
the shoes, and come back
yes,
in. Yes,
and
we've
come
seen
back
that.
in.
Whereas if you have comfortable shoes for networking,
Yes.
yeah,
Do
you'll
you
be
go
fine.
with a friend? And if
Turn
you
it.
go with a friend, how do you do it?
go with a friend to a
To the
networking event.
networking. Uh-huh.
Depending on the thing, because some events you are told you can bring a friend with you. There are some
Right.
events you're told. If you're not told that and you're invited as a representative of your company or something
Right.
like you turn up. You
Right.
turn up. You don't have to go with a friend. Especially where invitations are very specific. You don't just turn up and
Right.
bring someone just because you want company, you know?
Exactly.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's the reason I asked that
I know.
mainly too is that I know people who do that as well. But if you're a new entrepreneur that have just started your business and you're going to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, of course you go. And if you bring two or three representatives from your company,
That's
you
different.
recommend to sit, it is best to sit at different tables, not necessarily together.
Absolutely, you're
So you can
spot
say,
on.
you can share why the benefit of that.
I was sharing with some senior person, permanent secretaries in
Yes,
the
yes,
session
yes.
with that,
Yeah.
where you turn up and they go together and they stay in the corner together. Said you defeat the purpose. You defeat the purpose. You need to be able to. That's why three of you are there. So
That's the
you
point.
spread it out. So you walk away with more contacts. You walk away with more
Exactly.
relationships and so on.
Exactly.
Because a lot of good relationships are struck up in situations like that, and the need is really down the road. So you
Right.
can pick up the phone
Right.
afterwards and say, pick up the phone and
Exactly.
yes,
So
yes.
if you I'd recommend it walk away with at least two to three
Two to
business cards,
three,
for
yes.
example.
Persons
Um,
you never met before. Yes.
right. And
Yes.
now even when you go, what I found a lot of persons are doing is using your phone, and they use
Mm-hmm.
the phone and you go right into LinkedIn and you
Absolutely.
capture it, and
Mhm.
then you start a connection immediately. So you
Immediately,
yeah,
immediately.
so you're on the person's mind up front and
Right
all.
away. And also the virtual space also helps with that because I'm
Exactly.
telling you, while it is
Yes.
going on, people are reaching out and want to
Right.
connect. So by the time it ends, you're setting up to meet. As a matter of fact, the last one I was on, I was I actually I was the panelist. So when I
Yes.
was not speaking, I was one of the panelists. When I was not speaking, someone reached out to me and said,
Yes.
"Hey, can we meet on Monday?"
Right. Exactly.
So that is
Exactly.
how quickly it is happening now
It
in
is
the
happening
virtual
at bird
space. That's
speed.
all.
Yes.
The other
So,
aspect of making contact, one more thing with someone, you may be invited on behalf of your company because a specific individual is there that the company wants to establish.
yes.
So when you get there, you make sure that you find a way to make contact with that
Right.
person because you need to walk away with that person's information. So there's
Right.
that aspect of it too. Yeah.
Right. And I understand from on in the same breath as you've said, sometimes you don't sit if there's a question that you have to
Mhm.
ask. Get
Mhm.
up and ask the question if it is that it's a forum where you can meet that particular person. So they
Absolutely.
will remember, oh, you from
Mhm.
that question that you asked and so on.
Find a
So it,
question to
yeah.
ask or find a
But
reason.
an intelligent
An
question to
intelligent
ask.
question or an intelligent comment because
Or
sometimes
intelligent
comments are
comment,
just
whatever it
yes,
is, but you
yes.
find that and not
Mhm.
just get up and say
So
garb for the sake of saying something because you don't want to be remembered in that
for
regard,
that,
do you?
exactly, exactly, exactly.
So, Maxine, it has been a pleasure chatting with you very briefly on this topic because I think I know how important it is to others who are just getting out there, new entrepreneurs or new career changers. And it's really your comments and the thoughts you've given have been very insightful. Those strategies have been very insightful. As we close, can you share where they can
Sure.
find you?
Absolutely. And even before I share my contact, I always like to close by saying networking is indeed a soft skill. And it is the soft skills that build relationships, make powerful connections and build relationships. So I want
Okay,
people to
perfecto,
remember that. And of
perfect.
course, I can be found, my website is www.softskillservices.com. It's a lot of S's, softskillservices.com. And once you go there, you can find all the ways to reach me. Yeah?
Thank you
Yeah,
very much, Maxine. It has been a pleasure chatting with you. And for me, I'm again Dr. Shelly Cameron. Do listen in to all of these information that we've been bringing you. It's really great success strategies. And I myself can be found anywhere on the internet at shellycameron.com. Have a blog called Success Strategies, successfulleaders.net, and you will find me anywhere that you put your name in, just shellycameron.com. Very simple. It's my name.
she's good.
Thank
She's
you very
good.
much, Maxine. And I'm asking, subscribe. Click that button.
Wonderful. My pleasure.
Thank you.